Hi, my name is Koku with blackfilm.com. I'm here with Makur Maker, star of the Apple TV series The Long Game Bigger Than Basketball. This chronicles his journey from birth to college to NBA prospect to, of course, where we are now. But let's just talk about it. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
So I just want to start from the beginning here. You are South Sudanese.
Yeah, I am.
But you were born in Nairobi.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a fellow East African, so I know where that is.
Oh, okay. Where you from?
Well, my family is originally from Tanzania. My mother is similar to your situation. She's actually from Rwanda, but
Oh,
she was born and raised in Tanzania. My father is Tanzanian, so I have the bit of a similar sort of thing.
all right,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. But I was raised here in the States.
Okay.
I see you're a little more international than I am. So I just want to talk about this. Coming out of high school, you were a top prospect. The expectation would be that you would go to a school that people would they would not have thought that a top prospect would choose an HBCU. What informed that decision for you, and why was Howard the right choice as opposed to going to like UCLA or Kentucky or anything like that?
um, I think it definitely during high school, when everything happened, the social unrest, I definitely perked up my ears and made me consider going to HBCU. We've seen the recent tragedies that happen. You see it all over social media, and that definitely motivated me and try to find a solution. There was so much protesting happening in the streets. So I think for my voice to be heard, I think it was best that I made a commitment,
Hmm.
um, use my platform. My,
Hmm.
my coach tells me to use my platform. And I think that was the best way in kind of understanding people's races, and educating people. And then kind of, there's so much rich history that goes into Howard that when I
Hmm.
committed or looked it up and it kind of, had a more in-depth feeling of what Howard was and what a HBCU was.
Hmm. One of the things you talk about is especially like just learning and even training in a COVID environment. I mean, there's obviously the added idea of being this big star who made a decision that maybe not everybody else would have made. But then you're also just trying to go to school and live your life, and you've got all this Zoom classes and things going on. And everything's just so untraditional, and it's just not it's not the same. What was it? How intense was that, or how stressful was it to try to work through that and manage your life?
It was very stressful because I
Hmm.
still in classes and it wasn't in person. The basic interactions with your teachers and classmates weren't there. So it was everything was via Zoom. So I'd have to text in the chat to kind of get to know somebody, which was kind of hard.
Hmm.
Especially after my first, so I never really got the college experience, and I'm hoping one day I can go back to Howard and kind of collectively just
Hmm.
you know talk with people.
No, I like to see high profile people make those kinds of decisions, And one of the things you also said is like, listen, I mean, it just somebody has to be the first to do it. And in your case, you were the first person in 40 years that committed to an HBCU.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it definitely was a shocking to hear that, but you got to be the first to do it. If
Hmm.
not, somebody has to do it.
Somebody has to do it. So I know your mother didn't want you to leave, and she wanted you to stay. So what decision like? How did that feel to have to stay away from your family for so long?
First couple of years was pretty easy because I was just so ambitious to going on the states and kind of working on my game and just becoming who I am and kind of finding myself during that role. But I'd always stay in touch with them with FaceTime, Skype, just
Hmm.
always back and forth. But it is tough not seeing your family for 6 years or so.
Absolutely. Now we all know, Sass always has something to say about certain people, but in your case, he actually has said very, very positive things about your game. So, was there ever a time where people were looking at you like, "Why are you going to that school? You know that the path to the NBA is so much simpler if you just do it this way." Did anybody
Uh,
try to discourage you?
it didn't discourage me.
Hmm.
That actually motivated me because I felt uh, I worked on my game every single day. That I felt like I was confident enough to go to any school and also be humble.
Hmm.
It's something I've always taken away from that. But I always say it doesn't really matter the school you go to because you look at most some NBA stars. The schools that they came out were really small schools, so I really didn't see an issue.
Hmm. But I even see coach was just telling you like he didn't want to build his entire program around you. He was trying to keep it fair. Did you have any challenges with that as far as the system not necessarily being built around you? And how did the other players feel because of your high profile in this case?
The other players were fine about it.
Hmm.
All my teammates, I get along with every single one of them.
Hmm.
Who I got along with. Um, I was okay with that. It's just, like I said, me and my teammates are all good.
Hmm. That's good to hear. And so I do have a question for you. What do you think about in terms of like basketball as well, about African players perhaps dominating in the NBA? Because even with South Sudanese people, we know, and especially East African, well, I come from a different background than yours, but our people are known for being very, very tall and strong. And I just would like to see, like, or do you see a future where there are many more African basketball players in the league that come from from East Africa?
I do see that. I see the
Hmm.
NBA and NBA Africa, the NBA Academy that's working, but I also feel like basketball is growing
Hmm.
internationally. So I feel like the game is growing, and you're gonna see a lot of more international players in the NBA.
Hmm. So when you decided to transition and go back home to Australia, what has that environment and what has that experience been like? Taking with you what you've learned from the HBCU experience as well.
Um, just coming back home, just not even the HBCU experience, but just everything
Hmm.
I've learned, all that knowledge I've learned in 6 years, coming back and bringing it into the Sydney Kings organization. We have a great group of guys over here. My teammates are great. The coaching staff, the
Hmm.
ownership. It's almost like a mini NBA with an NBA pedigree.
Right.
Yeah, so that's how I look at it.
I appreciate it. And it seems like you're a very family first person. Like you said, you had 6 years away from your family and then to come back and for this story to come full circle when you get to play back home. I would imagine that your mother was very happy about
Yeah, she was.
that. Who wouldn't be, right? I want to know what your favorite subject was at Howard.
Um, Favorite subject. I would say the incarcerated parents one. You know,
Mm.
if you watch the whole doc, but my professor Muhammad, me and her will always keep in touch, and just always build that connection. And I've learned a
Hmm.
lot. I feel like that was my favorite subject.
Hmm. And you said that you would potentially even go back to school. I see someone like yourself or J.R. Smith that are just willing to go to school. And I think that that's incredible role models to be able to see someone of again that kind of profile saying that education is something that you're willing to take into consideration. Not just because you've had whatever gains or wealth or fame or something like that. That's important.
Yeah, that doesn't matter. I think it's about the
Hmm.
knowledge you gain from these experiences, and you could always go back and learn more and more. But I feel like when the time is right, I definitely will go back and finish some classes and learn some
Hmm.
more.
I think one thing I learned about you from watching the documentary is again you do have a confidence. You know you can play this game, and you have such a confidence in your decisions. Even when you went to school, you just knew that this was the right thing for you to do, and this how you speak about the experience. Like, no, this is how it's supposed to be, and whatever happens is supposed to happen. I think that a lot of people could use that kind of motivation and have that kind of centeredness. That's a very unique and strong trait.
Yeah, thank you. I always say, I'm confident, but I'm always humble also.
Hmm.
You never know what's gonna happen. Everything didn't go how it was supposed to be, but that's just life in general. So it's how you bounce back from that and
Hmm.
keep.
And so, you have this unique experience of having your cousins also playing basketball on a very high level as well. I mean, how in the world do we have a family that turns out three people from the same generation, basically, that can all hoop on this level? That just is wild.
Yeah, I do have my cousins here to help me. They play the game of basketball also, and
Hmm.
we always compete and everything. I also got two younger brothers also in the states playing basketball also. So you
Mm. So you got five people in the family that are basketball. That's
should,
wild.
yeah.
So what kind of advice do you give your younger brothers?
Just being a professional, just how you carry yourself.
Hmm.
Always compete, be humble, and just respect the game of basketball.
Hmm.
Try to get better every single day. That's what I always
Hmm.
try to
So who are your influences in the game?
do. I'll say the greats that played the game before me, the ones who laid it down, the ones who showed you how to compete and how to win. Michael
Hmm.
Jordan, LeBron, KD, those guys.
Hmm. All
Totally.
good. All great, fantastic choices. And what would you like people to really learn about you from watching this documentary and understanding the decisions that you've made in life?
Um, I just always want to, show them that the path to going professional or whatever you want to pursue is not always how you plan, and it's tough. So it takes a
Mhm.
lot of classes, a lot of ups and downs, but you just got to keep a steady head and keep going. That's what
Mhm.
the name of the doc speaks for itself. So
Absolutely. Mhm.
yeah, that's the biggest thing I want them to take away.
I think that's a good takeaway. So no, no, definitely. I think you have an incredible story. You had an incredible journey. I mean, just even your parents ended up in Australia on a humanitarian visa because of civil unrest too, right?
Yeah,
So a lot of that really does inform. If people really understand the totality of your story, they'll understand that a lot of this actually makes sense, and it informs why you would make a decision like that, and really just sort of make something that was very selfless in that sense, because you were willing to put eyes on a program that nobody would have expected you to join.
yeah. Thank you.
No, I think that's really great. Again, my name is Koku with blackfilm.com. I'm here with superstar Makur Maker. He's the star of the Apple TV docuseries The Long Game Bigger Than Basketball, and it chronicles his journey. It is a really it's a fascinating watch, because again, you're seeing all these decisions that he's made, and they all make so much sense. But for somebody that has a little bit like more short-sighted, or doesn't have the sort of the long range thinking that you have, they wouldn't understand that, like you said, as long as you're confident but humble, good things will come to those who deserve it.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much, my fellow African brother. If you want to
Take
see
care,
more
my friend.
content like this on blackfilm.com, make sure you like, subscribe, and ring that bell.